Hi, good afternoon. My name is Eve Preste. Right here, I have Darrell Miller here with me. And yesterday, we had a session of hypnosis. And when I saw him yesterday, I noticed his energy was he was very pale and gaunt, and he didn't look right. And I saw redness like all around him. And I just noticed something was wrong. So I asked him, I said, Darrell, what's going on today?
So yesterday was a hard day for me because it was a 2-year anniversary of being in the hospital after experiencing a very traumatic event. And I had kept having flashbacks the whole day of being in the hospital. And it was like a still image that just kept repeating. It was always me getting pulled into the hospital the first time on a stretcher where the doors open and all the nurses in the front desk are just facing, looking at me. And it kept repeating itself. And I felt like very tired, weak. It was having like an out of body experience. I was disconnected from myself. I was here physically at work working, but there was no emotions there. Um, and I was looking at the time, the time was like going by super, super slow. And I felt like my soul went somewhere else. Like, my soul just left the body. And I was kind of reliving that date. And I had a lot of anxiety because every time I have anxiety, I have tingles in my left arm. And it was almost like numb. And I could tell it was really bad. And it was really affecting me throughout the whole day. So when you asked me and I said that, you said, let me do a session, I was very open to it because my day did not get any worse than that.
Right. Something was terribly wrong. I felt it. And his energy was just not, he was just pale. He just didn't look himself. So I took him in, we did a session. And during the session, I took this huge event that was so traumatic 2 years ago. I took that image and I shrank it down to I minimized it and I shrank it into a little dot and then it disappeared and faded away. And I put a lot of peace and love into his heart and I shifted the energy into a different frequency beyond this dimension into a higher dimension of love and light. And I connected his consciousness and his spirit. I invited his soul back in. He was void because he was experiencing dissociation because he was not in his body or his mind at the time because he was trying to deal with it. So in order to deal with the situation, he just left his body and he was just a shell when I saw him. And I said, it's not right here. So we did the session. And during the session, tell me about the session. What happened during the session?
I actually felt it. So during the session, there was a lot of images where you kept saying slowly, the image of the hospital getting smaller, smaller, smaller until it disappears. And while you were talking and while I was focusing on doing that, I kept having images of people coming up to me and giving me gifts. It was close people, my parents, family, close friends. And they were just coming around me, groups of twos, fours, and they all had something in their hand, and there was a nice white fabric covering something like, here, this is for you. And the background was also very light, very white. It seemed like there were angels, and they were just walking towards me and saying, here, this is for you. We love you. You're loved. You're given a lot of gifts. And I didn't know what the gift was, but after the session, I realized that it was love, emotions, getting, like here, this is yours. It belongs to you. And during the session, I did actually feel spasms in my arm and my upper body, and it was a very strong connection. And as soon as I woke up, it took me a few seconds to kind of wake up. I felt like I was like, wow, like I'm here. It literally sounds weird, but my soul was back in my body. I had a smile on my face right away. I felt very light, energized. And I didn't believe I was going to not remember that image of the hospital anymore. But really, after I left Eve's room, I didn't have that image. I was scared when I got home. Maybe it would trigger it again. Nothing happened. I was still having that happy thought of me, people being around me and supporting me and giving me love. I even told one of my good friends about it. I was like, you won't believe what Eve did to me, how she changed my day like that. And I thought maybe talking about it was going to give me the images of, again, being in the hospital. And I spoke about it like it was a story that happened weeks ago. So literally from how my morning was and how my afternoon was, it was like 2 separate days. It was not the same day. And it was unbelievable.
And when I was doing this session myself, I had this image of an army of angels just forming a big circle around him, elevating him and lifting him up and bestowing gifts upon him and healing the heart and the trauma and the mind. And it was just a beautiful bonding, a blending of energy from this beautiful army of angels and friends and family. And those are angels, friends and family and support team. And that's what I got. And we got similar images during the session. And during the session, tears were coming down my eyes because I was able to connect with what he was going through and what he was releasing. And it transferred into my body. And I was actually crying and on both eyes. Usually just my left eye just waters, but both eyes were just tearing up and they were watering. And I was able to feel his spirit elevate. And it was a beautiful experience for myself and him as well, because I just felt the shift in the energy and the light in the room, and I felt the presence of our Creator and blessed angels and all these wonderful feelings, and so did he. And after the session, I looked at him and go, "Oh my gosh, look at the color is back, and you're shining, your aura is bright, and the energy field, your electromagnetic field of energy is just, it's vibrating, it's resonating to a high frequency of love and light." So that's a shift in energy, and this is what we do with hypnosis. And also I do a little Reiki during the session. I put my hands over areas that need help, and I just send love and light to the mind and spirit and throughout the body. And that's what happens during a session. So this is a great experience yesterday. It was very elevating. It was a big shift. And if you want to find out more about that, you can talk to Darrell. Call him.
Yeah, definitely want to take the time to let you guys know that this definitely works. It doesn't sound realistic. Me personally, 2 years, medications, therapy, and this, therapy helps, but this, takes it to the extra level. And if you have any questions, I can talk to you personally about my experience, how I felt. And it's not just for PTSD or trauma. She can help you with anything. I personally see the energy of the way people walk into the office sometimes and the way they leave. And it's literally, it turns your day from being dark to being light. It just works. There's no science behind it. You have to be open-minded to it. Yes, I'll tell you that. But it works. This is definitely the way to go. And Eve will talk to you as well. And before the session, she actually talks to you and tries to kind of take out the things that are bothering you. And I realize that sometimes, things bother you for so long that you forget that it bothers you. It could be bothering your sleep, affecting your daily tasks. And it's been a part of you for so long that you forget how much it's affecting you. So when Eve talks to you, talking in general helps. And then she'll pick out the little things that she's like, okay, this is what I'm going to help you with. And that's exactly what she did. I told her specifically what my problem was yesterday, my trauma, and she pinpointed it. And it was probably less than 40 minutes of a session, she cleared it out of my mind. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're releasing and letting go of those imprints in the DNA and unblocking certain blockages in the energy field. We're just freeing up energy and clearing it and making room for new, beautiful energy. So if you'd like a session, you can call me. Call Darrell at 954-626-6446 or visit us on our website, www.prwell.com. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
Thank you.